you're doing. May God bless you.
Your personal economy.
You can't say, I don't want any risk. I don't want to take any risk. I just want to put my money in a CD and forget about it. But I want to earn 18% a year. It doesn't work that way.
Conservative talk radio you can count on.
Once again, Steve Forbes. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Dan, good to be with you.
Financial Issues with Dan Celia.
Hi, Dan. I just want you to know how much I really appreciate the passion that you have.
Aligning reality with truth.
And I've got Congresswoman Bachmann with us right now.
So I just want to thank you. I want to thank your listeners.
We need to save America and keep it intact for our children and grandchildren.
Now, here's your host, Dan Celia.
Welcome back, AFR Talk. I'm Dan Celia, Financial Issues. Great to be here. All the major indices in positive territory. The Dow's up 35, about half of what it was up just a little while ago. So it has moved downward, probably maybe on home sales. I don't know. They're saying the home sales have no impact on it whatsoever, so maybe not. Who knows what had the impact on it. But nevertheless, new home sales for the month of December, new home sales for the month of December were down 7.3%. Well, it's December. I don't know. I'm not a realtor, but are home sales ever good in the month of December? I don't know. I guess they are. I don't. They're down. They fell anyway. Sales fall 7.3%. Although they're saying that December was less volatile than the long-term trends. It also notes that home sales in general, new home sales in general, were up were higher by 8.8% versus a year ago. So when we look at 2012 in general, 2012, new home sales were up 8.8% higher than they were in 2011. So, that's good news. The median sale price of homes went up 1.3% to $248,900. $248,900. That's the new median home sale price. So it did go up 1.3%. More good news. So also November sales of homes were revised upward. They originally said that November new home sales were 377,000. They're saying now it's 398,000. So overall, on an annual rate, new home sales fell in December. That's only December, so I already said that. Okay. All right, so that's the deal on home sales. Those numbers just out. The major indices in positive territory. It looks like the Nasdaq's picking up some ground. It got clobbered. Maybe it was Microsoft's numbers that came out last night. I'm not sure, but Apple has been driving it downward. IBM has been lifting it upward. But it's up 17, so it's picking up a little bit of ground, up 0.5%. As I said earlier, the Dow is on schedule right now to finish and have its best January since 1997. Its best January since 1997. So that's good news. 888-589-8840. Let me go to Bill. Bill's calling us from Texas. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Dan.
How are you?
Yes, I'm doing great. How about you?
Good. I'm doing okay.
Good. Listen, Dan, I've retired from City of Mesquite and here in Dallas, and I've got about $117,000 that Wells Fargo is handling for me.
Uh-huh.
And it's made about $7,000 in the last 6 months. I've got it invested in about 5 different stocks.
Okay.
Is that a good place to leave it?
Well, it depends on the stocks. What are the stocks?
I'm not sure, Dan. I don't have it right here ahead of me. I'm on my phone.
Well, here's the thing. If it's all in stocks, so you've got this $117,000, it's all in stocks, and you only did 5% last year, that's something's wrong with that picture. So they either have you in some really lousy stocks, or they've got, and they do. I know they do. Wells Fargo has very high fees. So maybe they've just feed it to death, which is very possible. Is this money, Bill, you're going to use to supplement your income? You work for the city. You're going to have retirement pension, something like that?
Yeah, I've got retirement pension about $4,500 a month.
So is this money going to be, you're just going to want to see it grow for the next 10 years even before you use it? Okay.
Well, yeah, I don't need it. I don't need to use it. I just $7,000 on $117,000. That's not very good return, is it?
No, it is not good returns based on where the markets were. That's why I say something's wrong with that picture. If in fact you were in all, you were in all stocks, like you said, something's wrong with that. It should have done better, which can only indicate that they've got you in some really bad. So they got you in some stuff that just didn't perform well. My guess is they might have you in some international stocks, some global stocks that just really, really hurt you. So I would take a long, hard look at that. I think that what you ought to do is you may want to consider moving, and I'm not blaming it on, necessarily where it is, but you need to you need to be somewhat conservative. But even being conservative, you could have done better in that in a bond fund last year. So I think you probably shouldn't have all of it, 100% of it, in the stock first place. You should have about 50% of it, since you're not going to use it for a while. 50% of it in stock. You should have about 30% of it. Or 20% of it into maybe some fixed income, a bond fund of some sort, but maybe even some muni bonds or something, and then the rest of it should be in cash, a money market account. So that would be the mix I think you ought to have, but you want to check on the fees on that account, because they may have, maybe you did, $7,000, but you had fees of $7,000 and you would have done $14,000. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the fees were, but you need to look at that. So I would probably maybe talk to someone else, move it, stay conservative. You don't want it to go down. If they're being that aggressive and didn't make a good decision on the upside, chances are if the market turns, it comes down, it's really going to do a lot worse than most. So that bothers me a little bit. So I would say that you need to get a little bit more conservative. You might want to put it even in a bank for a little bit, just until things get situated, until you find an advisor that can give you some, guide you in the right direction and give you some help in managing that. So that's what I would say, unless you want to try to do it yourself, at which case, you need to get some help. I would probably tell you to, work. I'm happy to work with you on the website if you want to get on my website, and you can at least find some good, solid companies to be buying and a good mix of assets that you should be following. At least you'll have some guidelines. So that might be another option for you. Let me go to Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hey, how you doing? Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
And this is the first time I'm on your show. I love your show, and the Lord has truly called us to be good stewards. I have a question. In reference to the Obama's tax raising, I know that's going to affect everybody across the board, and I think people are starting to see just how much those effects are going to take place. But also, as far as the Bush tax cuts, with the expiration of the earned income credit, that's also going to affect the middle class people. As far as I think I heard you saying something about paying back taxes, but as far as a household that's normally used to receiving some type of return at the end of the year, with the expiration of the Bush tax cuts, it's going to put people in a position where they're used to receiving a return. They're going to be in a position now to where they're going to probably most likely have to pay back some taxes, which is going to create further burden on these particular households. And either way, the rich people are not going to be affected either way. And I'll hang up just hear your response on that. Thank you.
Yeah. Great stuff, Mark. Thank you for that. And yeah, you're right, Mark. And I think, I've talked a little bit about it when I said that, there's going to be a moment here between now and July or August where everybody is going to wake up and say, wait a minute, this isn't what we were told. And one of those moments is going to come when they get their tax return this year. And they see that their tax return, the money that they're getting back is not as much as it used to be, or maybe they're not getting back any at all. And they're going to see some changes. Next year, it's really going to be bad. So you're right, and people are going to wake up, and the next big wake-up call is going to be when they get their either from their employer, or if they're self-insured, if they insure themselves health insurance-wise with their own policy, when they get that increase in the middle of the summer, early fall, for what is going to happen in 2014 as a result of Obamacare. And then 2014, there's going to be higher Medicare taxes and a lot of host of other taxes that come into play as a result of Obamacare that, by the way, are going to impact everybody. Doesn't matter whether you're low income, middle class, or, the rich. So you're right. I mean, this thing, all of these things were wrapped in a way that it was only going to impact those making over $400,000. And, my response to that is, well, let's just wait and see then, because, everybody's going to find out who is right on that issue. So you're right. It's a huge problem. And I'm afraid on top of all of it, not only will we see higher taxes, particularly in 2014, but we're going to have a lower quality of health care. And again, that's why I tell everybody this weekend, go to my website at Financial Issues and just listen to that interview. It's not going to cost you anything. Just sit there and listen to it. It's something that you got to hear to begin to get an understanding of how the average person, you and I, are going to be impacted. So you need to take a look at that. 888-589-8840. Let me go to Kenny. Kenny calling us from Indiana.
Hi,
hey,
Dan. Good to speak with you.
Thank you.
Some of the things you've been saying is really scaring me and concerning me, which is probably a good thing. But I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I was kind of wondering about getting involved with a franchise. Would that be wise to try to start my own thing now, or should I just put it on the back burner?
Well, are you working now for a company?
Yeah, I do have a full-time job. Seems like on one hand they give me a raise, but then on the other hand they take my hours away from me. And seems like each year I keep bringing home a little bit less and less on my average pay. And just thinking, like to start something that would generate more income, hopefully. But the only way I could be able to do that would be through the help of a franchise.
Well, I like the idea and the models of a franchise, and I like it for a number of reasons. I like the idea that you get help, and if it's a good franchise and a reputable franchise. I like the idea that there's support, and there's support along the way that is going to help you. I mean, obviously, they want you to be successful because their survival and income is dependent upon your success. So they want you to be successful, and they help you. There's always comes in a franchisee's life where they get tired of paying that franchise fee because now they kind of know what it takes to be successful. They don't need the help of the franchise, and they get, concerned about that, but they shouldn't. The thing that you got to be aware of right now, it is not a good environment, frankly, to start a business. I mean, it's not because of healthcare, because of uncertainty in the tax. If we knew not what was going to come in the economy, and not that we could predict how the economy is going to be, but if we knew of the certainty in Obamacare and how that's going to impact our employees and how that's going to impact us, how that's going to impact us as far as taxes, if we knew what our corporate tax rates were going to be and all of those kinds of things, if we knew if minimum wages were going to change and their regulation or the regulatory authority, whatever business you start, there's some sort of regulatory authority that you probably have to answer to or get licensed from or something, how all of that's going to change. There's just so much uncertainty. And, short of it being a food, a McDonald's, Wendy's, Dairy Queen kind of business, Subway, one of those that where you have the density where you live to make it successful, and you have an enormous amount of money because that's what it takes to start one of those franchises. Subway being, the least expensive, but nevertheless, where it's going to be, yes, it's a consumer discretionary kind of thing where consumers don't have to go there, but it's the kind of thing that almost in all types of economies, you're going to be able to hold your own. You're not going to do as well in a bad economy. Now, if we get into a depression or a total collapse, then nothing's going to do well. But so I would just say that this is a time to be doing research and to try to develop. If somebody said, Dan, you have to start a franchise, you have to do it this week. There's no time to think about it. What's it going to be? It would have to be something probably, if it wasn't a McDonald's, it would have to be something automotive. It would have to be a tire place probably, or, a kind of, an oil change place, a Jiffy Lube kind of place, because I guess it's classified as a discretionary kind of expenditure, but not really. I mean, people need tires and people are going to get their oil changed. And as the economy gets weaker, people are going to stop buying cars and they're going to tend to be fixing up their cars more and making sure they're maintaining their cars. So, I mean, if I had to pick something, that would be probably what it is. But at the same time, this is a time to be doing research. This is the time to be really doing your homework. And the key about doing your homework in any kind of operation or franchise is don't believe your own numbers. Don't believe them. You got a problem when you start something. You can't believe your own numbers because you want to do it and you'll skew the numbers. And you can't believe the numbers the franchise gives you because they want you to do it and they give you best case scenarios. So you really have to come alongside somebody that's willing to keep you down to earth when you do your numbers and have some realistic idea of your opinions, of your expenses before you do it. So if you're going to do it, I would say, hey, I'd rather look 2 years out. Let's wait until some of the dust settles, year out or whatever. In the meantime, dedicate this time while you have a job. You got a job that's basically paying you so that you can come home at night and do the research and do the work that you need to do to really do a thorough job researching it. So that would be my thoughts on that. We got to go to break. When we get back, we got Robert on deck from Mississippi. We got one line open, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Robert, when I get back, I'm going to have a quick news update, and then we'll get to you. You're listening to AFR Talk Financial Issues. I'm Dan Celia.